everybody! Happy February! It's crazy. I feel like January was the longest month ever, so I'm so glad we're done with it. Lots of fun things happening in February. I'm going home next week for the Fleetwood Mac concert and I'm so excited. Yeah, lots of fun things. She is here.
We have coffee.
That's exciting. We do have coffee.
Cheers to February.
Woo-hoo! I can't take a sip of it yet, it's still too hot. I just made it. But today, we came on to talk about studying abroad in college, why we think it's super important, and we're going to share our experiences with it. One of my biggest advice that I always gave to people when I was like right out of college or right at the end and stuff, and people would ask, I would say, if you have the means to do it, study abroad. It's the best decision you could ever make. So I did 2 different study abroad programs, back-to-back years. You did one.
We both studied abroad in London, but one of yours was a little different.
Yeah.
We'll get into it.
Yeah.
But primarily we were both in London. That was our experience.
Yeah. Okay, we'll get into our experiences, but first, just a couple points is why you think it's important, why people should do it.
For me, I think it's really important it was very instrumental in my life for one major reason, and that is because I had never been out of the country before. So if that is you and we had traveled pretty extensively around the United States, so it's not like I'd never traveled, but up until that point I had never been out of the country. So to me that was a really pivotal time in my life where I got to experience a different part of the world, different cultures, kind of in one fell swoop. But then also, I also believe, not to get like too deep, but you're still developing as a person, and your mind and your brain and everything that comes with that psychologically and physically. So that's a really impactful time, I think, just for human beings in general. So to kind of have like such a pivotal experience at that particular moment really just kind of changed a lot of things about me, like a lot.
And 2, as hard as it is for me, I'm also a believer in getting out of your comfort zone, and to do something like that, to travel across the world, you probably wouldn't be by yourself. Sometimes you can be.
Well, I mean, I wasn't literally by myself, but my experience was different. Like, you did trips with close friends. I didn't really know anybody that was going. I knew one person, but like we weren't super close.
And if you don't know, so Ashley went to Baylor University in Waco, Texas. Huge, huge, huge university. I went to FIT, Fashion Institute, here in New York, which is very prestigious and very small, but we only had about 10,000 students in total. So I knew almost not everybody, but we were all very close, especially everyone who had the same major as me. We all took the same exact classes, so that's what she kind of means by that, is like I was really close with my friends, and this is something at FIT that they really push for. They want you to study abroad, and in a smaller environment, a big majority of the students do, whereas like at Baylor, however, you have hundreds of thousands of students there, right? Oh, yeah. It's like it's a completely different situation.
And your study abroad was a little bit more fashion focused.
Correct.
Obviously, because you went to a fashion university, whereas mine was not. The thing that my professor said, like very early on in the study abroad process, like day 1 or 2, he told me, well, not just me, our whole class, that there will likely never be an opportunity again for most people to be able to live for 6 or 8 weeks, however long your program is, even longer in some cases, in another country with like no responsibilities other than to like take a class and just like travel and enjoy it. So he said that early on. I kept that in the back of my head. I really lived up the experience, and I never forgot that. It really made me like live in the moment and appreciate what I was given. And I fully understand that not everybody can travel abroad. Not everybody loves to travel, but we just feel that it's super important.
So we'll kind of go into ours. Since I have 2, I'll do my first one and then we can sandwich Ashley in the middle, and I'll do my second one. So a little background, FIT has so many different study abroad programs to choose from. And actually when I first decided, like freshman year of high school, that I was going to FIT, I picked the exact summer and the exact study abroad program that I was going to do, and I was determined to do it. It was going to happen no matter what. So
don't mind Poppy.
So there's several different ones. Both of mine that I did were summer, and in hindsight and doing everything that I've done and how much I love travel now, I really wish I would have done a semester or a year program. So if you think mentally you can handle that, if financially you can handle that, I would say do that, because we were very, very sad when both of these programs ended. And if I would have done like a year or a semester in London, I would just be so happy. So the first one that I picked was a fashion, this one was more fashion based, and it was with my major, and it was I think 3.5 weeks long, and we spent however many days equally in London first, then we went to Paris, then we went to Florence. So FIT has
like roughly a week in each place.
Ish, yeah, a little more. So FIT has a sister school called Polymoda in Florence, and so that's why a lot of people at FIT do like a year in Florence, because it's the same, it's like a sister school, so nothing really gets messed up with like your credits and everything, because they have like a partnership together. But so we started in London, and this one was all very fashion based. Every single day we had 2 to 3 appointments with different brands, ranging from everything. I mean, we did fashion forecasting, we met with Burberry, Topshop, All Saints, and each place that we went, it was all places that were from that place. But what I really enjoyed was, it was like from 8 to maybe like 2 or 3 in the afternoon. We had our meetings, we had discussions all together, and then we were free to do whatever we wanted, which was so nice. And really the only, like how we got like our grades and stuff, because it's obviously still class, was showing up to these like meetings, being involved in the meetings, asking the speakers questions, because our professor was obviously there with us. And then we wrote a big paper. It was like a 15-page paper, I think, at the end about your experience. And that's it for the work-wise. So it was very easy class to do, but so well worth it. So yeah, we did the same thing, basically that same kind of schedule in London, Paris, and Florence. There was a few nights where we all did things together. There was a couple like touristy things that were planned. I actually took a lot of people around in London because I had been before, recently before that, and once I've been to a place and I've like directed around it, like I have kind of that map like memorized, and I can just easily get people places. So we did that. You just get very close with these people that you're with. And
how many people were there? Like how many people were in your group?
I think it was 16.
Okay, so that's my point. Like it was a pretty small group of those people.
And 3 of those people were some of my very close friends at FIT. So it was so exciting for us to like travel together and have fun. We were all like roommates in our hotels.
You had to apply for this and like be selected, right? You couldn't just like sign up.
No, that's how it is at FIT. It's very competitive because it is a small amount of people. Yeah. I mean, I went through interview process. You had to have recommendations from your professors. It's hard to kind of pick a favorite moment from this class, and because there's something different in every city. I obviously love London so much, but that was my first time to Paris and my first time to Italy as well. So it was so much fun just like exploring, and I feel like even then I was still younger and I didn't really have a ton of anxiety at that point, so we kind of felt a little fearless in a way and just kind of like did everything, which is one of my #1 tips when you're over there. Like, you can sleep when you get home. Like, do everything possible. Florence was really, really fun just because our professor who did our class had lived there and had taught at Polymoda there. So she, knew Florence like the back of her hand, and so it was really cool to like kind of see her in her element and taking us around there. It was so freaking hot though, I can't even tell you. But yeah, there's just so many like inside jokes and funny moments that like you guys wouldn't understand, like only, I mean, she doesn't understand, just only things that like us that were there do. But it was just such a cool thing, and even to this day our professor on that trip says, and you would think she would say this to everybody, but I know she doesn't, that we were her all-time favorite group of people. It was a really, really good group of girls. It was all girls on this one. It wasn't on my second one. But yeah, it was just such a good time, and I enjoyed this aspect of it where there wasn't a ton of work to do, where there was work to do in my other one. So it was more like a vacation, but not, because we had appointments and things we needed to be at, and we had to be present in those meetings and ask questions and things, but then we got to kind of explore the second half of the day, which was really, really nice, and I got to explore 2 different countries that I hadn't been to yet before, so. Alright, so I think that kind of covers my first one. If you have any questions for either of us about any of these, just leave them down below and we'll answer them. I just kind of wanted to explain kind of like the study abroad things that we did, because there is so many different options.
Yeah.
So yeah, if you have any specific questions, leave them down below. But, alright, go into yours.
My turn. I'm trying to remember, it's been a while. Okay, so as Shelby said, I graduated from Baylor University, obviously a much larger university, so I had a slightly different experience. Although I would venture to say it's probably not your typical study abroad experience, even what I had, even at a regular university. Because when you think study abroad, you almost think like more like exchange program,
yeah,
where you like go to a different university in a different country, and that's not really what mine was. So the program that I did, and I'm sure they still have it, was called Baylor in Great Britain. And I think it was like an 8-week program all in all. So we were primarily based in London, but the first week of the experience, we traveled to somewhere that wasn't London. I think they change that up every year, but my year happened to be Italy. So the first like 5 to 7 days, I can't quite remember, we went all through Italy. I think we flew into Rome, and then we basically drove up north to Milan, stopping in different places around. So we were in Rome for a couple days, we stayed in Florence for a couple of days, we stopped at little towns for like just like afternoons on our drive, and then we ended up north, and we stayed on Lake Como for our last night, which was one of my favorite places ever.
I've never been there, and I'm dying.
And then we flew out of Milan back to London. So my first thing ever traveling abroad was Italy, which was really fun. That was a really fun experience. And then we were in London, so they put us up in student housing, which happened to be in the really cool place right directly next door to Royal Albert Hall. Like literally my window looked at Royal Albert Hall.
Every time we're over there, she points out the exact window in the building.
Anytime, I mean, you see that building on so many TV shows or whatever,
like, hey.
and I'm like, oh hey, that's where I am. Like directly across the street from Hyde Park, Kensington Palace, not too far. Like it was such a cool location. So I think I was a little spoiled because I love that area, and that's why we spent a lot of time in that neighborhood, just because I'm familiar with it.
I mean, my flat in London was nice too, though. I'll get to that.
So instead of going to a different university, like a London-based university, Baylor's program is kind of like more of like a transplant, if you will. They take our professors from Baylor, and we were studying, we kind of like occupied some classrooms in the school that happens to be right there, called Imperial College, which I think is technically a high school, because I think I'm not an expert on British education.
It's confusing.
A levels and all this thing that I don't understand, and it sounds very Harry Potter.
And college isn't university, because if you're going to college in America, it's university. College is a step below.
That's why I think it's,
I don't know.
Basically, we were in some
There's
school.
a lot of you from England. Explain it to me, because
Please.
I don't get it, and I get so confused.
Imperial College, is that a high school or is that a college? Like, what is that? Anyways, that's where I was. So we just took over classrooms there, and our professors from Baylor taught us. So the class I was taking was international marketing. So I have a fashion major but a business minor, so this was going towards my business degree. And I found it really interesting. It was cool for me to take a like international marketing class internationally, because we got to use a lot of like real world London business examples in our studies. So we did class like every weekday, just in the morning for like 2 or 3 hours. I can't quite remember. And then we had,
so it was quite a while ago.
It was quite a while ago. Class in the morning, just briefly, and then we had like the whole day to do whatever we wanted for the most part. There were different classes happening. So there was like an English, I think like British literature, obviously, was one option that you could take. My marketing class, there was like, I don't know, 5 or 6 different classes happening, all kind of in different educational genres. So different professors would arrange different like field trips, if you will. So those would happen after class hours, but anybody in the group could go on any field trip.
That's cool.
So, you know, it just depended, like, so they would announce what was happening and you could go or not on anything. Our professors had lots of connections. Most of them had been doing this trip literally every year for like 20 years. So it was kind of, for them, a lot of the same stuff every year, but we got to do some really cool things. So some of it was local to London, some of it was you'd take the train and go off on like a day trip. So I remember I went with the lit professor on a day trip to Canterbury because they were talking about the Canterbury Tales. And so like they were talking about it in class, and then like we'd go see it. And it was nice for me to have that experience kind of in a small group of people with like a leader at that point, because I had no idea how to do any of that or get anywhere on my own at that point. So it's just it was a fun experience. So taking class and learning, but we had lots of time on our own. You know, we made friends, we'd go out to dinner, groups of us would go see musicals on the West End. They're also, as a group, they arranged a couple of like optional trips that you could pay additional money for to participate in. So we did like a 4-day weekend in Paris. We took the Eurostar kind of as a group, and like several of the professors went. So we did that as a group. We did a weekend up in Edinburgh, took the train from London up there. And so just different experiences. Some people did some even further travel, but you had a lot of downtime, but you were also there to learn. I would say my favorite thing that I did on that whole trip was one of our professors knew somebody that had something to do with Westminster Abbey. This is before Kate Middleton was in the picture. Actually, I think this was the summer that William and Kate were broken up, if I'm remembering correctly, because they did break up for a little bit. So this was before, like, in my lifetime, Westminster Abbey had ever been like
really
a deal. Like, I knew it was a church, but it didn't have any significant like meaning to me, as far as there never had been an event that I'd seen it be like the focal point of. Anyway, we got to do a like private tour at night after it closed, just our group.
You got to take pictures.
You're not allowed, I don't think you're allowed to take photos in Westminster Abbey on like a normal day, but
I don't know. I haven't been inside since 2011, so I don't know if you can take pictures now or not.
But we got to walk around. We got to go in areas that the public doesn't get to go into, and so that was really, really cool. Like, looking back, I'm really glad I got to have that experience. So that was kind of my study abroad experience. I had such a good time. I got to travel to so many cool places and have so many experiences that I had never had before, and it was just, all in all, like one of my favorite things I've ever done.
Okay, so my second one is completely different from my first one, and this is just the following summer. So this one that I applied for was actually not within my major, but I could still take it. This was kind of like an advertising and marketing class. So this one was basically, we were gonna go over to London, I think it was like 6 weeks. You were going to have a job that you went to, and we also had class. So this was less kind of like running around having fun. It was a legit thing. And side note, we had planned that Ashley and our mom were going to come over afterwards and meet Alex and I, and we were going to travel around, which we did. We went to Scotland, Ireland, and Amsterdam, and back to London afterwards. So that's why I didn't do a ton of traveling while I was there, because I liked having my base camp in London. So like she said, she was in like student housing. We actually had our own flat apartment, if you don't know what that means, in Maida Vale, which is a very fancy neighborhood in London. Turns out Princess Diana's brother lived down the street from where we were, so that's cool. So we had our own flats, and it was cool to have like this like base, and it was like, okay, we're living here for like 6 weeks. So, you know, we went grocery shopping, we cooked, you know, we did our own laundry, we did everything. So it was like we were living there, which was so nice to have. So the weekends we always had free, which I did do a little bit of traveling within the UK, and I did go to Paris for a day during the weekends, but any other big travel I was saving for afterwards. So during the week, I think we went to, I'm trying to remember, we went to our jobs, I think 3 days a week, and then 2 days we had classes with our professor, and we had ongoing like projects that we were working on the whole time, that we had groups.
Where'd you do your classes at? A school?
There was like a building that we went to by the British Museum. I can't remember. I don't think it was like, it wasn't a school, but it was, that had like rooms like that with like tables. It wasn't like a school, but I guess kind of like meeting rooms, I guess. But yeah, we did that. But I actually got really, really sick while I was there for a week. I had tonsillitis. That was fun, trying to like go to the doctor when you're in a foreign country and trying to get stuff. So there was like a good like week and a half where like I basically didn't do anything. So I missed out on some of the classes because I was sick. But I think we worked 3 days a week, classes 2 days a week, and we had projects, like big projects that we were working on. We had groups. I'm trying to think how many people. There was more people on this trip than there was on my first one. I don't remember the exact number. This may have been up to like 30 or something.
Yeah, I didn't say how many were on mine. I would say mine was probably close to 100.
Oh my
it was probably
God.
under 100, but it was a big group. It was maybe like 75 to 80. It was large.
So while we were there, I'm trying to think.
You didn't
even
say where you worked.
That's what I'm getting at. And I'm trying to remember how we even, they have like a list of companies that FIT works with like every summer. We didn't actually like interview, I don't think, but
I think
they had our resumes.
You gave your preferences,
Yeah.
and then your teachers made recommendations based off of your preferences, I think.
Yes, and then they also sent our resumes to the companies, and because they had to say in it as well, because it had to be mutual. So I worked at the Daily Mirror, not the Daily Mail, very different. The Daily Mirror in the fashion department, which was so much fun. We got to go on photo shoots. Dee Dee and Dinah, I don't know if they're both still there or not. Hopefully they are, because I really liked them. We had a lot of fun. We got to write. Alex actually worked there with me, which was kind of intentional, but it didn't go very well.
Those poor people. Didn't go very well. It's just, they're all obviously like best friends and chatty and not necessarily there to give their best effort.
We did a lot of work. No, I mean we had things published in the paper like with our names on it. Like it wasn't under like
She'll
their
send me
names.
articles. She's like getting stuff published.
I know, getting stuff
Like
published.
you worked there a week and you have stuff being published.
It's cool, but it's something cool to say. It's like I've had stuff published. Like it was like, because I thought even when we were writing it that like we were doing it, but like it would be like their name.
Yeah,
you know,
just, like,
but
ghostwriting.
Yeah, but no, like it was our name. And the first time I saw that, we like walked in one day, and I think Dinah like handed me the paper, and I was like, "That's my name." This paper, like it was so crazy. So it was so much fun. It was such a great experience. I mean, it was actual work. It was not, you know, play around. It was very serious. You know, we even had to go through like all the HR process at the company before. Like, I mean, it's a very serious thing. We had to have a visa for this one because we were working. So
were you paid?
No, we couldn't be paid. I mean, I think you can if you get a certain kind of visa, but the one that we did, we couldn't be paid because it was, I mean, and it was like a work experience and it was going towards our major.
Right.
So, I mean, that's how it is here too. Yeah, but it was so much fun, and it was cool for it to kind of be a home base because in my previous one, it's like we were only there for, you know, 8 to 9 days, and you couldn't, by the time you started feeling like home, like you had to pack up and go again. So it was nice. I mean, we had standing plans every week of different things that we did. We went out to dinner, we saw different friends, we saw shows. You know, we were really immersed into the culture and living there and doing that, which was so much fun. It was this one was definitely more work than the first one. So it all just kind of depends. But like I was saying before, how in hindsight I wish I would have gone for like a whole semester or a year. It's that one is why, because I got that taste of it for like being there, and I was like, I could be here for so much longer doing this. So if you have that opportunity and you think you could, I would say the longer the better.
Yeah, but you could also go and hate it and then you're stuck there for
That
6
is
months.
true. That is true.
I mean, you're saying that in hindsight because you loved it, but
Yeah, but I could have done
that's
it.
why I didn't, because I was like, I was nervous that it was too long, and there were like, to do the longer ones, you miss out on like birthdays and holidays potentially, and so,
I guess it's true, because I guess for me, I could do it in London, obviously, and I could do it in Florence. I'm not sure. I could maybe do a semester in Paris, but I could not do 2 semesters in Paris. So I mean, it's all personal.
Yeah.
I hope that covered everything. We really, really loved our time studying abroad, so I encourage everyone to do it if you have the chance, or like Ashley said, just travel.
Yeah.
It opens your eyes to the world. It's
Absolutely.
great. Well, we really hope you enjoyed this video. Like we said a billion times, leave us a comment down below. If you have any more questions, if you did like it, please give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe right there, and you can watch our latest video right there. We'll see you guys next time. Bye. Should I sit on the pillow? That is ridiculous. Why am I so short?
I don't know. Just double fisted my coffee here.
Okay, that's better.